Things moving along. So I want to welcome everyone to Got Connections, cohesive marketing using website, social media, and email. And we have our very own SCORE Boston mentor, Rob Stutzman. He is knowledgeable in all things marketing, and we're happy to have him with us today to share what he knows on this topic. So if you are new to SCORE, I want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all the things that SCORE has to offer. So our goal is to share small business information with you. And we do that in a couple of different ways. One is through our website, score.org. If you haven't been on it, I suggest you take a look. You're going to find templates that you can download, not just business templates, but marketing templates and financial templates, all kinds of great things. There are articles to read, videos to watch, blogs to look at, lots of great information. We also even have success stories from previous clients. Those are, I think, fascinating to read through. So take a look at those. The other way we share information is through our workshops and our webinars. We have several in-person workshops coming up in the next month. We also have our webinars as well. Those are shared through our website, through our newsletter, and on social media. So watch for that newsletter, or maybe follow us on social media to see what events we have coming up. The most important thing that SCORE does is our mentoring. And our mentors are volunteers, and they simply want to get back to the small business community because they believe small business is very important to our country. And they have a wide variety of skills and experiences to share. We work with folks that are trying to decide if small business is right for them. We're working with those that are heavily into that planning phase, and those that are already in business. We have mentors that can talk to you on probably any business topic that you can think up. And if we don't have someone in our local chapter, which doesn't happen very often, we can reach out nationally to find someone else that can assist you. A beginning session is probably going to be about 40-45 minutes. They want to know about you. They want to know what your goals are, what your challenges are, and they're going to work with you to put together a plan so that you can be successful. When you're working with one mentor, you're working with all of them. It's not uncommon for them to invite another mentor for a future session or to recommend you forward to other people as your needs progress and change. So how do you get a mentor? Score.org again. There's several ways to connect with a mentor. The easiest, though, would be putting your zip code into the blue box. And it looks just like what I have there on the screen. That zip code will match you to the chapter that's nearest you. We're going to ask you a couple quick questions. Put in there how a mentor can help you, what your business is, information we can use to match you to the most appropriate person to assist you. Okay, so going forward today, we do like to use Q&A for questions you have for the presenter. We definitely will be interacting through chat, so definitely use that. But if you have a question for our presenter today, please put that in Q&A. We also have our sponsor with us today, Middlesex Savings Bank. We have a representative from there, and I will introduce him shortly. But if you have a question for him, put that into Q&A as well, and he'd be happy to answer anything bank related as well. We are recording. The recording will be posted in 24 to 48 hours. You can find it on the score.org/Boston website. Blue bar, local workshops, and the pull down previously recorded. That's where you will find it. So let me introduce you to David Bennett from Middlesex Savings Bank. He's been with the Middlesex Savings Bank for quite some time. He's had a wide variety of positions and responsibilities in all facets of commercial and consumer lending. And currently he oversees a team of business bankers in the bank's portfolio for small business loans. So I'll turn it over to you, David.
Well, thank you, Teresa, and good afternoon, everyone. Just like to thank you all, really, for taking the time to join today's webinar. And on behalf of Middlesex Savings Bank, we're certainly delighted to be today's sponsor. For those of you that don't know, Middlesex Savings Bank is the largest independent bank in Massachusetts. Now, by independent, I mean we're a mutual savings bank with no shareholders. And this is an advantage for us, really, that allows us to focus solely on our customers and the community while not having to answer to any shareholders. What I can say, though, business owners like yourself typically come to us because they're frustrated. They're frustrated by long selling cycles and slow collection of receivables that make their cash tight. And then as they grow, they become challenged with the need to invest in people, equipment, or processes. And then finally, they're anxious. They want to work with a partner that works with businesses just like them. And that's what we feel we are. So this may sound familiar to some of you. Today's webinar is a topic critical to the success of any business that we see. And typically when we hear the term gut connections, well, we usually think of our professional network. But having a cohesive marketing plan that connects your website, your social media, and your emails equally as important in helping you to thrive. And as one of our go-to organizations, SCORE has a long track record with helping businesses succeed. And today, Rob is going to provide you with the information to enable you to put together a cohesive marketing strategy for your business and to provide you with the ideas and lessons that hopefully you can make your own. So I hope you enjoy the session and look forward to seeing some questions. Have a good time with it.
Thanks,
Rob?
David.
Very good. Good day, everybody. Let me just bring up my presentation here. Hopefully the technology is with us and we won't have any glitches. Okay. So yeah, thank you for the introduction, David. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your partnership with SCORE. We have enjoyed working with you, our organization, and appreciate your sponsorship. I like to get to know my audience before I get started. So Teresa is going to bring up a poll, and the poll has two questions in it. The first question is, what's your primary platform for marketing? And the second question is, when you market to your customers, to your clients, with what frequency do you do it? Do you do it daily, weekly, et cetera? So go ahead and fill out that survey, and then I'll tell you a little bit about myself while you're filling out those questions. I have been in business for over 40 years. 30 of those I was with Verizon, and I led global teams in marketing initiatives. So I have a long history and experience in sales and marketing. When I retired from Verizon, I opened up my own LLC where I do marketing consulting. So for what I do for some clients that pay me, I do for SCORE where you get it for free. And it's been a wonderful opportunity for me to be a part of the SCORE organization. You know, SCORE is coming up on its 60th anniversary. And I can remember being back in high school and seeing a SCORE commercial and saying to myself, when I retire someday, I want to get involved with that organization because it looks like they're doing really cool stuff, which they do. Within SCORE, I'm a mentor. I work with clients, and I have a subject matter expertise, and my subject matter expertise is in sales and marketing. And within the chapter, I'm the marketing and social media chair for SCORE Boston. My email is there, and you'll see me also hanging out on LinkedIn, and would love to connect with you. Okay, we ready to show we are showing the results here of the poll. So what's your primary platform for marketing? Website and social media. Very interesting that they come, it's, you know, it's going hand in hand with each other. And we're going to talk a little bit about how they need to work together. And then email, you know, email is kind of that lost art. When social media came on the scene, people did less email marketing, but email marketing can be, you know, very important to an overall strategy. We've got a few people out there doing text marketing. Good for you. You are on the bleeding edge. You are out there on the frontier, the wild, wild west, getting used to that technology and how to leverage that technology. And then we've got traditional forms of marketing such as newspaper, radio, and TV. And if you're in any kind of a professional services type of business, you probably are relying on referrals. And so for those relying on referrals, networking is very important. And for those doing other, throw in the chat. What is it that you're doing that's not on the list? I'd be curious. And the second question. So when I market to my clients daily, weekly. Weeklies come in first, and that is generally the trend that people do. If you're heavy into social media, then you may be doing it not only on a weekly basis, you may be doing it actually on a daily basis. And so that's why the daily number could be somewhat high. When I can find the time, is not unusual. You guys are entrepreneurs, you're small business owners, you wear a lot of hats. And as a result, you get pulled in all different directions. And sometimes marketing, unfortunately, can be an afterthought for what you're doing on a daily basis just to operate your business. And then we've got the rest, monthly, quarterly, other. And those, again, who put other, what is it you're doing in the chat? I'd be curious. Okay. Get back to my slides here. All right. So, what are we talking about today? I mean, we're talking about online marketing, which is also known as digital marketing. It's a broad term. It encompasses various, strategies and techniques, but it's used to promote products, services, or brands on the internet. It involves, leveraging the digital channels and technologies to connect with potential customers and generate interest in what you have to offer. If you think about pre-internet, which would be about 1994, early 90s, and you thought about marketing, well, you probably were sending out direct mail pieces. You probably had, a center for calls for people to make outbound calls and take inbound calls. You were probably advertising on TV and radio and newspaper, but with the internet comes the ability to do to widen your scope and to widen the area at relatively much less cost than you was associated with traditional marketing. So when you think about the challenges, the top marketing challenges to really any business, but particularly small business, is attracting new customers. You may have just started your business, or maybe you've been running your business for a few months, and you need to attract more people to your business to do commerce with them. People find that marketing to a target audience can be somewhat challenging. Who is my audience? What is my addressable market? And how do I reach them? And then when I get those leads that come in, how do I convert those leads into sales? So marketing is, it's a crowded environment. Today, there's over 200 million active websites. There's over 333 billion emails that were sent last year, and there's over 2 million Facebook posts every minute. Moving into the online environment, you move into a very crowded environment. But there's ways you can break through that and to get business coming your way. So let's talk about the party principle. When you think about social media and you think about email marketing, when you think about your website, it's like going to a networking party. You go to a networking party, you walk in the door, it's kind of noisy, it's a little bit chaotic. You meet some people, you pass business cards back and forth. That's what social media is. Social media is a lot of information. It's, not particularly organized in any, cohesive way. You post something on social media and you have no idea if someone has even read your post unless they like or share your post. And so, social media, if you're not on social media, however, you're conspicuous by your absence. People today expect all businesses to be on social media and to be able to reach you via social media. And then there are some businesses that do their marketing exclusively over social media, and they become very effective by doing that as well. Um, the key to social media is getting engagement. How do people engage with your information? Engagement does two things. One, it lets you know who's working with your information, interested in your product or service, but it also affects the algorithms that sit behind the social media platforms. The more people interact with your information, the more they're engaged, the higher you will move up in terms of the algorithms that feed the information to users out there. People use it to reach new audiences. Today, if you have a younger demographic and you're trying to reach that younger demographic, they're probably not going to be on email. You're probably going to have your best your best ability to reach them either with Instagram or possibly TikTok. So that's where the younger generation is hanging out these days. And it's also very important that you have eye-catching posts. If all you're doing is posting text, that's not going to get you much attention. And pictures, graphics with a text gets you a little bit more attention. But nowadays, people want to interact with the information. They like polls, they like questions, they like uh, people putting out graphics on different trends. They like trends, and they like videos. And so posting all those kinds of things get people to engage with your information, which is key. So that's social media. Email's like the after party. It's where you've met some people, you've connected with them, you've got a common interest, and you say, hey, let's get together after this party and let's talk a little bit further. It's a little bit more intimate, it's more one-on-one. And how that affects you within your email marketing plans is that your emails reach audiences directly. When an email comes into an email box, you can, if you're using some of the different platforms that are out there that monitor emails, they can tell you how many emails people opened and how many people took action. If you have a call to action within your email, how many people took you up on your call to action. And if you put out robust messages, that can help your cause. If you're putting out just text, sometimes that gets caught up in spam filters. And people like graphics and they like to see things that are done more professionally. They don't just like the mundane text format on an email. And people use it to provide more detail. Social media, you've got probably about 3 sentences before you lose someone's interest. So if you can't get your point across in 3 sentences, you're probably going to lose that person on social media. On email, you can be a little bit more verbose, and people oftentimes will use email for newsletters. They will put out newsletters that are informational in nature, and they have call to action. Your website is the VIP party. It's ultimately where you want to get people to. And don't let social media platforms know this, but they don't like that because they want you to stay within their ecosystem. You want them to get to your website because when they get to your website, that's where they see your exclusive content. You can have a one-on-one conversation with them. And most importantly, you get them away from all the noise that's on social media and email marketing. So when you begin to think about, putting a plan together, what you want to do is you want to make an overall assessment. You want to say, to yourself, how am I doing? First of all, is my website mobile responsive? Half of all uh, pages that people bring up from the internet these days are on their phones or on their mobile devices. Is my website mobile ready? So they're not confused. When I go to my website, it doesn't seem to work right. And the best way to tell that is look at your website on your mobile devices and say to yourself, what kind of experience are my clients getting when they come to my site? Am I sending emails and am I posting regularly? Particularly when it comes to social media. Um, Social media, email marketing rewards those that are consistent and have a cadence. And it all depends on your capacity. If your capacity is to say, I can do this probably once a week, maybe I can post once a week, send a newsletter out once a month. That's really all I've got the capacity for. That's great because as long as you stick with it, as long as you stay with your cadence out there, people will come to expect certain things. They'll expect to get an email from you, and they'll expect to see you when they're out on their social media. Um, if you can go to more frequent than weekly, that's even better. If you have to go monthly for both emails and posting, it's okay for the emails. The posting, that's a little bit long between intervals. So if you could get your posting maybe down to twice a month, or if you get it down to weekly. And again, it just has to be a quick snippet of information. It doesn't have to be a long diatribe of what's on your mind at any particular time because people don't have that attention span when it comes to social media. Are people taking the actions I want them to take? Every post you make, every email you send out should have at least one call to action within it. And that call to action might be to sign up for your newsletter. The call to action might be to take advantage of a promotion that you're running. It might be to book an appointment with you for a session. Every post you make, every email newsletter you send out should have a call to action. And is one social channel performing better than others? If you're in professional services, you're probably finding LinkedIn works a little bit better than Facebook because LinkedIn is where people have their professional resumes out there, and so they're networking with each other. Am I moving people to my own channels of website, email, and social media? So, what you want to accomplish, you want to get first within your website is you want to get more traffic coming into your website. You want to be able to take a look at when people come into the website, what are they looking at? What pages are they looking at? On email, you want to get subscribers. And getting subscribers is very easy. You just ask them. If you have a brick and mortar store, do you have a little sign at the register, maybe with a QR code where people can sign up for a newsletter? Putting it on a QR code lets them hit a couple of buttons and it's all done. And then are you moving people to your own channels of social media? Where for instance, if you're sending out email newsletters, are you letting them know you're also on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram or some of the other platforms that are out there? So some overall best practices is to bring people closer to your business. You want to attract them in, you want to draw them in to your website. Your website is your virtual brick and mortar store, brick and mortar building. You want to get them into the building. You want to use the right tools to communicate and engage with them. And you want to review how your efforts are working together. Use the social media to drive eyeballs to your website. Use your website and social to build your email list, and use email to disseminate information and call to action. If you don't have a website, get one. You really can't survive today in a professional way if you don't have a website. And it does, think of your website as your electronic brochure. Minimally, it's your electronic brochure. And it's the place that when you're talking with people, you can say, check out my website, and they can come and get the information. And then if you have different features on your website, like signing up for a newsletter, or you put blogs up on your website, or you sell things through your website, that's how you're going to do commerce with them, is by getting them to your website. And then what call to actions do I have? Do I have a sign up for a newsletter? Do I have a contact us? You should definitely have a contact us in there. And then if you're in the professional services, offering a free consultation to people, you should have that within your website as well. And then do you list the social media platforms that you're on? Again, you're conspicuous by your absence. If people see that you're not on social media, then they'll go, well, you must not be very big, because all the big companies are on social media. And consider adding a blog. Blogs are informational pieces that you provide to your clients out there. They're informational in nature. To write them on your own can take a lot of time. I know if I have to write a blog on my own, it takes me about 2 hours. But I use tools like ChatGPT, where I go into ChatGPT, I set up this idea, I've got this concept, write a blog for me. And it comes back, writes the blog for me. I review it, I take a look at it, I change some things, I edit it, and then I put it up. And it takes me about 20 minutes. And then after I put it up, what I do is I go out to my social channels and I say, hey, I just posted a new blog, and click this link, you can read my blog. But when they click the link, they go right to my website. So I've accomplished my mission, which is to get them onto my website. Consider using email marketing platforms such as MailChimp, Constant Contact, HubSpot's another one that a lot of different people use. There are a variety of both free and paid services out there. What an email marketing platform provides you with? It provides you with a couple of things. One, it provides you with knowledge. When you send an email out, it will tell you how many people opened your email. It will tell how many people clicked on your call to action. And if you have multiple call to actions, it'll tell you which call to action they clicked on. It'll give you who bounced and who people that are unsubscribing. Email marketing platforms also come into play when it comes to mass marketing over email. If you, for instance, send out a mass email and you put everybody's email address in your blind copy of your email platform and you send that out, chances are a lot of those emails are going to get caught up in spam filters because they're saying, oh, this is a mass email, it's coming from this particular company. I don't know who they are, I don't trust them. So I'm not going to let them through. The email marketing platforms have the ability to work within the rules of email providers and to ensure that your information is getting through. And in addition to providing you with that great reporting. And they also provide you with the ability to add graphics and rich text to your email, and you can add buttons like register now, put a button in there that takes them to your website and they fill out the form. So it can be very good for doing that. And when you get new contacts, welcome with an email. Send it immediately after someone signs up. It enables you to engage new subscribers. When it comes to email versus social media, people today, when they see something on social media, if they are interested in wanting to say, they say, this would be a really good post for a friend of mine. People don't really know how to forward social media posts today. The savvy ones do, but the general population don't really know how to forward social media posts, or they end up forwarding it to their newsfeed and they go, I didn't want to send it to everybody. On email, people know how to forward an email. So if you're sending out information, if you're doing your marketing through email, and people say, well, I don't have a need for this right now, but I have a friend who does, they know how to forward that email over to them. And then you get another person, get them to sign up for your newsletter, and you're building your list as you go along. And then consider a welcome series to start building relationships. I have a client who does consulting, and the first email is to announce that they're putting a webinar out there. Then they send a second email out there to say, just a reminder that the webinar is coming up and it's going to be this date, this time. And then the third, they send out the day of, and they say, this is happening, or they might send it the day before. They say, this is happening, this webinar is happening. And so a lot of times people wait till the last minute to sign up for things. And if you have like a series of emails, you've reminded them 3 times about what you have to offer. And if you can bring in automation in any way, that's also great. But automation is more important for when the volume is high and your business is being highly successful. And at that point, you probably have maybe even hired a marketing person within your organization. So include 2 types of emails in your strategy. Have a promotional and a non-promotional. A promotional, if you're selling hard goods out there, then promotional might be, hey, we're running a sale. Those who purchase this item before the end of the month can get an extra 25%, or 10%, or whatever that number is. That's a promotional email. A non-promotional email is where you're sending out email that's informational in nature. And that's where newsletters can really come in to your advantage. They're sent on a regular schedule. They make your intro personal. If you keep it to 3 topics, that's again, what people's attention span have, and you want to encourage engagement. When you think about the process of selling today versus 20 years ago, it's really changed. Today, people want to be nurtured. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your company. And when they feel they can trust you, then they're ready to do business with you. So that requires a lot of effort on the front end to make sure you're disseminating information so that people can get to know you and get to the point where they trust you. Determine your best send frequency. Consider your audience. Some don't like to get lots of emails coming in. Make sure that you set expectations out there for your frequency and when you're going to be sending, and send at least once a month. And weekly is optimal. If you can send it out weekly, that's optimal. And then for promotional emails, send out an announcement, send out a reminder, and then a last chance reminder like we just talked about. So list growth is customer growth. So make it part of your process. We talked about in person. If someone comes to your store at the checkout, do they have a way to sign up for your newsletter? Maybe when you're helping a customer, you could say, oh, by the way, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? Or if you go to events, if you go to these pop-up events like craft fairs or craft shows, again, getting people to sign up for your newsletter lets you touch base with them after the event. You can put it on print materials, on your signage, in your flyers and brochures, and within your direct mail. People are not that hesitant to give over their email addresses. They're a little more hesitant to give you their phone number, but they're not as hesitant to give you their email address. And so when you ask them whether it's for your website or social media, or if it's in your email signature or any kind of landing page within your website, people are happy to, as long as they know that you're going to be sending them stuff of an informational nature, and you're not going to be trying to hard sell them over email, excuse me. And you'll know they'll start unsubscribing, and you'll know that you probably have stepped over the line with that particular individual. And when it comes to to social media, focus on one channel at a time. Figure out from your business which platform is probably the best. You know, if you want to reach a consumer out there, Facebook is a very popular and very good platform to start with. If you have something that's highly visual, you'll want to entertain Instagram and being on Instagram. If you have visual tips and ideas, Pinterest could be a place for that. For professional networking, LinkedIn, for public news and what's happening now, X, the former Twitter. And then if you have quirky video content or you're trying to reach a younger demographic, TikTok could be a platform you could use as well. And, match your approach to the social channel. You don't want to necessarily put quirky videos on LinkedIn. That's not necessarily the environment that LinkedIn is trying to create. So use social media to drive traffic to your website, and then traffic driven to a domain via Google's top 100 organic search results. They were coming in via the web, and almost half were coming in via mobile. The same is true for Instagram. The same is true for Facebook. And then consider all platforms to reference. You want to start with one and really become an expert within that platform. And you want to understand their algorithms, understand how does your information get presented, and what do I have to do that. And you can go into ChatGPT and you can say, can you tell me how to take advantage of Facebook algorithms in 2024? And it will come back and it'll give you a nice guidebook of how you can structure your information so you take advantage of the algorithms within Facebook. And they can do the same thing with LinkedIn and with Instagram and with others. And and again, the key across all of them is all about engagement. The more you get them to engage with your information, the better your experience is going to be on that particular platform. Spend time on driving awareness, provide customer service through that, or get them to your customer service location using social media, get people to engage, move people to your own channels. If you're doing advertising, for instance, you may want to make sure that they come onto your, or they follow you or follow your page within Facebook or LinkedIn. You want to understand the algorithms that we talked, know how and when to post. You want to amplify your efforts with ads, and you want to entice engagement with polls or videos or questions. So when we look at the ecosystem that we're trying to create here, you're trying to create visibility, you're trying to increase exposure, you're trying to connect with new prospects. And the way you do that is by providing a wow experience, and experience that entices people to stay in touch and ultimately to engage with you. Once you get them to your website and you're talking to them through your website, that's where commerce is going to get done. That's where sales are going to get done. So doing all you can to get them to your website using these other platforms is how you can have them cohesively work with each other to get them to your website. So, websites, email, social media, they shouldn't do it as individual initiatives, but a cohesive strategy that engages the prospective client and motivates them to deeper levels of connection. So some next steps, assess your online marketing strategy, or have someone do it for you. Have a SCORE representative take a look at your online marketing strategy and talk with you about it, and provide maybe tips of some different things you could do. Build your email list by asking for emails. Focus on one social platform, become an expert. and use that platform to drive traffic to your website and use your website to gather emails so you can drive people to your website. And you can see how it begins to work together. Use your email platform to target prospects and the clients. And above all, nurture, nurture, nurture. If you come across as a hard sell, you're going to get shunned on social media. You're going to get unsubscribed on your email marketing. But if you're providing information, you're helping them get to know you, get them to a point where they trust you, you're going to be very, very successful when you put your plan out there. So, Teresa, that is the conclusion of my prepared events. Are there any questions that came in?
You know what? We have great questions submitted, but I do want to start with, because it came in a little late, the chat didn't go to everyone. You had asked in the survey about another way to market. This is a dance studio, and when they are out in the community and when they're doing shows, all their people associated with their company are wearing branded shirts.
Nice.
Great way to advertise. Okay, questions. What makes a strong video on social media?
Well, it depends on what your target market is. If your target market is consumers, and if what you offer is kind of a fun product, a goofy video may attract them. They'll kind of laugh at the video and say that was pretty humorous, and I got to see what these guys have to sell because I thought that was pretty creative. If you're into professional services, a video, there's short form videos, there's longer form videos. A short form video could be a teaser that you put out there to a video that you've created and maybe have up on YouTube. And so it might be talking about, obviously talking about a subject which your company can address. And so finding out what's of interest within your clientele to click on your video to hear what you have to say. There was a very interesting, I have another client that is an author, and they write poetry, and they write poem books. And on their website, they have a video of them reading a poem. And they have the lyrics or the words scrolling while they're waiting. They've got, and I think he's sitting by a lake or walking around or whatever. It's just kind of like it added some, visuals. If you had just put the poem out there, maybe even with a graphic, would it have had the same impact as if you put a video out there? And you can do the same thing on social media that you do on your website as well. But it's the key is, understanding who your audience is, what are the things of interest to them, and then shaping your content accordingly.
Okay. Thoughts on tapping online communities on platforms like Reddit or Discord? I do business consulting for graphic designers and designers. Many are active on these platforms in industry specific threads. Ideas on engagement with those online communities?
Yeah, I mean, initially you want to get into the information flow. You want to kind of understand what are the themes I'm pulling out of this. What's the personality of this group that I'm part of, and then begin to interject, begin to offer your perspective, and let them get to know you. I mean, it's going to take time. It's going to take time for you to get to know them. It's going to take time for them to get to know you. But if they find what you're offering to be compelling, then they can a lot of these social media platforms identify you, and then they can message you through the social media platform, and you've begun a conversation with them one-on-one, which is again ultimately where you want to get to.
Okay. Any experience with using Google Marketplace and Autobot on my Google My Business page suggested I set up with their marketplace for free. I do have one product that I could sell from my website, but most of my business is service related. Any practical tips? Is Google Marketplace really free? I never know if I'm about to be upsold or scammed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Google Marketplace is not very big when you compare it against, Amazon or Etsy or eBay. And they've brought it to their platform because they have to compete with other platforms that are out there. But Google has, I mean, provided it's from Google, and make sure if an email comes in, it's from google.com and not from some other various and sundry foreign email address. Um, you know, uh, do your research, get familiar with Google Marketplace. Uh, you can very often times uncover there's a hidden cost out there. And off the top of my head, really just I don't know if there's any cost related to marketplace. My sense is that it probably it's free to list, but when you sell, then Google will take back a percentage for themselves because that person bought it through Google, which is a very similar model to eBay. eBay lets you list things for free, but then when you sell it, they keep a percentage for that because they've got to make money as well.
And I'm not sure if there's an easy answer to this one. How best way to vet random emails of interest in your product to make sure it isn't someone trying to scam you?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, how to the best way to vet random emails of interest in your product to make sure it isn't someone trying to scam you.
Yeah. The what you can do is you can, copy paste uh, the email address into Google. And if there's problems with that email address, and if people have reported scamming issues with that email address, the same thing's true for phone numbers, by the way. But if that email address comes back as this is not a trusted email address, Google can help you with that. Sometimes you can look at the email address, and if you look at the information after the @ sign, what you can do is put that information into your web browser. If that doesn't bring up a website, then chances are that could be a nefarious email that's out there. And then there's also ways you can kind of vet them yourselves, just sending a few emails back and forth, and then excuse me, then determining that it's not somebody you want to do business with.
Does Substack and YouTube fall in the category of social media, part of the big party and the party principle?
Well, I'm sorry, was it Substack and YouTube, did you say?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. YouTube, yes. YouTube is really hard to bring more features to their platform. And one of the features they've brought is not only the ability to do commerce, excuse me, but also they want to create community and people within channels. When they want people to subscribe to their channels. And when you subscribe to the channel, then you're in their community. You're in what they're offering, and um, they provide YouTube provides the ability to leave comments for when they've viewed a video, and then you can provide comments to their comments, and it has that kind of look and feel. Substack is a little more a site for journalists and people who are writers who want to have a place where they can go to put their original material. and have people subscribe to their material. There's aspects to it that you can build community through Substack, but most of the people that I know that are on Substack are writers, and they're looking for a way to get their proprietary writings up on a site.
Okay. That is all the questions I see submitted. So I think we can go ahead and wrap up for today. I want to first thank David and Middlesex Bank for sponsoring this webinar so that we could bring it to our SCORE clients, and Rob for giving a very informative presentation. David, did you have any parting words before we?
No, I didn't. Thanks, Rob. I learned a lot myself, and things that we could listen to our customers about and point them in your direction for further counseling. So thanks so much. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your day. We're almost to the weekend. We'll hope to see you again soon. Thanks. Bye.